brings a fresh opportunity for the Melbourne Kestrels and Queensland Firebirds to make their mark in the Commonwealth Bank Trophy. It's season number 7 of the National League, and here at ABC Sport we are delighted to be bringing it to you each week, and it looks a little different in 2003. Netball Australia has lived through the angst of removing the Adelaide Ravens from the competition and inviting the Canberra Darters to be part of it. The season launch was on Tuesday at the Darling Harbour Aquarium in Sydney. Darters captain Rebecca Strawn took a swim, but there is no suggestion this young team has been fed to the Sharks as they start to mix it with the more experienced sides.
I'd like to win 6 or 7, but basically at this stage, I guess I'm an unknown quantity with the players until we get out of the first couple of weeks, and then we'll start to be able to really have a look at where we sit. We did play a pre-season and had beaten Firebirds at that stage, so I hope from that we're able to build on that, and you know, we can go in very open and challenge anything that's put in front of us.
And here's how the league shapes up, with still 2 teams from both Melbourne and Sydney. Remembering Phoenix are the current champions. The Thunderbirds are the sole representatives from Adelaide now. We have the Queensland Firebirds, the Perth Orioles, and of course the Darters. And we do wish the Darters all the best this season, but we start in Melbourne for this round 1 clash between the Kestrels and the Queensland Firebirds. Both teams have been busy recruiting in the off-season. The Kestrels have a new but experienced coach, and they also welcome back Shelley O'Donnell. Welcome also to Anne Sargent. And I guess that activity is a sign of a maturing league.
Yes, it certainly is a sign of how highly it's regarded by the players, who invest a lot of time trying to find a place on court in a starting 7 with one other team. So the colour of the competition, very important. Also, faces to the Kestrels are well known to Australian netball fans. Margie Calder making her debut as coach of the Kestrels this season. She's, of course, a former Australian goal shooter. And also Marg Molina, another former Australian goal shooter, is the manager for the Kestrels. Combine that with Shelley O'Donnell being back in the line. She swapped the mic for the runners. It's a very exciting and new-look Kestrels lineup. So too the Queensland Firebirds. They've done well in enlisting new players, Nat Sloan and Michelle Gillette coming into their pack. So exciting lineups for both teams, both pushing for a place in the semis.
Well, there are always some nerves in a round 1 clash, and it'll be up to the on-court captains, Nick Richardson and Leanne Matthews, to settle their players down. Nick, you've got some new old blood, if you like, with Shelley and Marg. What are you expecting of the season?
Yeah, look, we really can't wait for the start of the season. It's been a very long pre-season, so the girls are really itching to get out on court, and it's great. You know, we've got a new coach in Marg Caldo coming to the team, so she brings a bit of new life to the team, and also the return of former Australian vice-captain Shelley O'Donnell to add some excitement to the team as well.
Yeah, and you've got some good new players this year. What are you expecting?
We're expecting big things this year, Steve. We've got a few new players from Sydney. We've got Michelle Gillette in the centre court, and she's going to inject something new. She's got speed, she's young, and she's keen to play. She hasn't played for a couple of years, or for a year with a knee, but she's looking good. And we've got Nat in the shooting circle, and she's accurate. She's got a wise head out there, and it's going to bring some more experience to our attack end, which we've sort of lacked in the past. So we're looking forward to a big season.
Captain and Deborah Farrelly in charge of this opening clash. A double-header it is for the fans here at the State Netball and Hockey Centre in Melbourne, and although there are a few empty seats at the moment, it's going to be sold out across the evening, and that's a good sign at the start of the season. Annie?
Well, Melbourneites love their netball, and why not? They've got 2 great teams to boast.
And Wasukas bags the first for the Firebirds. Interestingly, they're coming off their best season so far in the National League. Last year they finished 6th. It might sound modest, but they can build on that. They will hope to.
Well, the talk in the Queensland camp is whatever it takes is the motto. Whatever it takes to get up that ladder, they will do.
And Sinanil for the Kestrels. The Kestrels have a 10-2 record against the Firebirds. They'll expect to win this match, but that's all right. The Firebirds don't mind coming here underdogs, although they also have never won a round 1 match of the National League. Did beat the Kestrels in round 2, though, in 2001.
Vastly different starting lineup for the Firebirds, with Michelle Razukas slotting in at goal attack and Nat Sloan back at shooter. Of course, Carla Stewart not yet back on court. Firebirds lost her partway through last season with injury, so they're hoping her to slot in later on. But a very different forward line, and of course Michelle Gillette running the centre. She's formerly Sydney Swifts, also having returned from knee injury. So young and fresh and keen.
Got a few, excuse me, Sydney players in there, haven't they? When Karen Miller's been with Firebirds for a couple of years, but originally from Sydney, has it now.
Sue Hawkins with that difficult task of blending. They want to bring through the young players in Queensland, which is very important developmentally, but also to bring in the experience that you need to survive in this competition. So the blending comes, I think, from just south of the border.
Drifting offside into the circle, Nick Richardson, and an attempt to deprive Gillette of possession, but it's Razoukas off to Sloan, who slips in front of the defence in Garbutt. And this is a good start for the Firebirds.
Brilliant start. Nat Sloan instrumental in the start. It's interesting, it was only a couple of years ago she was named a Rookie of the Year, player with most potential coming through the junior ranks. And she's had, whilst hasn't always had an on-court place in grand finals, has been part of 2 grand final campaigns, 2 successful ones as part of the Swifts and, of course, the Thunderbirds. So she is one of the more experienced heads out there for Queensland.
A little mistake from Andrea Booth, just the foot over the baseline. The pass asked a little bit much of her, and she is the goal shooter there without a name on the back. So we'll know who she is. As Razoukas plays it out to Gillette. I think in the end the Queensland team was quite satisfied with what they achieved last year, but they have actively recruited. And how's this start for them? They are 5 from 6.
Certainly finding some space through Garbutt and Illich. Sweet hands from Razoukas, who's found a Sloan, but she's also got the moves herself, and that was good vision from Michelle Gillette.
Well, they're pinching themselves on the Queensland bench. This is a dream start for them. 6-1 against the Kestrels in the opening 3.5 minutes.
Stop the game, that's the end, I'll say. I just caught Susie Hawkins' eye. She's got a smile from one side of the border to the other.
Don't smile too early.
No,
it's a
exactly.
long way out.
But it's a nice 5 minutes to watch, is it not?
Sinner Neal. And gets just the second for the Kestrels.
Some hesitation in the Kestrels lineup. Andrea Booth has done well. She's forced herself into the starting line with Amanda Burton benched. And Burton, of course, was amongst the top 10 shooters last year in terms of accuracy. Far more experience. Booth has come from the Phoenix, only 4 games in CBT to her credit, so she's one of the rookies.
And Richardson, well, she got a little bit of a push. She points at her opponent in Michelle Gillette. That's why she fell into the circle, she says, but umpire Deb Farrelly not impressed. And on we go. They're always leaning on each other around the circle, though, aren't they, Annie? That's bread and butter stuff.
Yeah, always a bit of push and shove and flexing of muscles, and a lot of it let go unless it actually infringes the game or impedes the player's ability to play the ball.
And that's what Nick Richardson would argue happened there. Anyway, but Sinner Neal gets the resultant goal, and it's back to 3. They scored a couple and without reply, but give away the centre pass.
Well, Shelley O'Donnell had the head down and was putting the drive onto the far corner, but Sinner Neal just assumed the pass was there. Need a bit of eye contact in this game.
Well, Razoukas looked hesitant over that shot. She was looking to offload and yet still drained it.
She looks very comfortable. Her career average is 67%. Not in this match, though. She's nudged that up a little, shooting 5 from 5. She's a standout in the Queensland lineup.
Gillette, well spotted by Sloan.
Important ball from Sloan because it really opened the circle and it split Garbutt and Illich, and they're just finding spaces where most teams don't find spaces against them.
Razoukas, not that I'd suggest she was carrying weight, but she's even slimmed down even further, I think. She's looking particularly lean and quick.
Well, all the teams have worked incredibly hard in the off-season, but I know the Queensland girls have been up pretty well every morning, 6 o'clock sessions. They're really putting some time into their preparation for this season.
Strong rebound from Peter Stevens. Gets the Firebirds going forward again. What a start to their season this would be if they can carry this through for 4 quarters. They are 8-3 leaders after 6 minutes, and Sloan finds herself right at the post.
That was a brilliant ball from Karen Miller. And, of course, some of these New South Wales players now finding a connection they haven't had for a few years, but coming together under Queensland colours and finding Sloan with ease.
Illich, tap on the ball from Razoukas. O'Donnell. And the penalty advanced. Is that against Mackenzie? No, it was against Stevens. one on the edge of the circle.
And that's been an area that Queensland will probably work to address. Last season, they were the most costly team with respect to giving away penalties.
Let me just rephrase that. The penalty wasn't advanced. It was just another infringement was spotted up the court, which is a different thing.
It was layman's terms of being advanced, not technical terms.
I want Chris Burton ringing me up and saying, now, Steve,
actually,
here's how it is.
I can hear the mobile ringing as you speak. Put that whistle down. Hey, I flexed my whistle recently at schoolgirl level. They were so respectful.
Were they?
They were polite.
That could have been the age thing, isn't it?
I don't know what it was, but I was appreciative of their good manners.
So Shelley O'Donnell, and as you say, Annie, swapped the microphone for the netball skirt. 30-something, we dare not say. But,
no, but I did note, Shell, that it was the oldest in the comp. Just as well she's mighty fast. I think she was chomping at the bit all of last season to play, and it took probably the excitement of Mark Calder taking the reins, former Australian captain.
Good take from Razukas. That pass had a bit on it from Sloane to Razukas. She was awake, took it one-handed, and took the opportunity. So this will be a Kestrel's ball, and 5.5 to go in the first, and the Firebirds, very promising beginning from them. I think they stand fairly criticised in the past of not being able to play through 60 minutes with their full focus, the Firebirds. They can run with most teams 4 a time, and they'll be looking to address that this year.
Well, with that in mind, their best advice at quarter time can be put that behind you. It didn't count. Go out and establish another 15-minute win.
It's one thing to say it and another to believe it and carry it through.
But mind you, they've had 5 more attempts at goal than the Kestrels, and that is with Nat Sloane currently shooting at 50%. So there's a little more in there as well.
Miller one-hands it back to Razukas. Razukas, nothing but net for 11-6, and she's 8 from 9. Oh, Booth had to turn to take that one and offloads it to Neal. It was a nicely sighted opportunity from O'Donnell.
Yes, I have to say, though, Andrea Booth really needs to put the shots up herself. She's only had the one attempt and needs to get herself involved in a shooting capacity. Sinna Neal, by comparison, is 7 from 9. She's picked up the workload.
Gillette. Well, since being down 8-3, the Kestrels have recovered somewhat. Since that moment, they lead the Firebirds 4-3. You're looking for something to latch onto. Oh, Neal fits ever so well to get that one away without conceding possession. She was gone. O'Donnell, strong take. And Neal's back to try and convert here. And she'll get another go. I hope she converts this because she's played a very interesting passage here. Oh, bad luck. Stevens, another rebound for her. Matthews, co-captain probably with Carla Stewart when Carla comes back, but for at least the first half of the season, Leanne will wear the captaincy role. Black armbands for the Queensland players. Respect for passing of some relatives of Coach Sue Hawkins. Garbutt. So 3 minutes left. First quarter, a little bit of a surprising one, but you can get these upsets, particularly early in the season, Annie, and obviously the Firebirds have come here ready to play.
Oh, they certainly have. It's interesting. Both teams have differences in their starting lineups from last season. Perhaps so the Firebirds, with the most reshuffled forward line, has been the one that started the better. And that was exciting. That was pretty. Michelle Razukas really showing off some beautiful skills.
Well, I think Joyce Brown would have loved that. She's written recently she wants to see players and coaches trying different things, that maybe netball's become a little predictable. That's the kind of flair she would have delighted in.
She'd also particularly delight with the goal being scored after that flair.
Yeah, you
don't
better
make it
score.
pretty if you can't score, or don't come off.
So pretty without scoring is ugly.
Sinna Neal shooting at 73% and Razukas at 80%. Good starts from both goal attacks. Not much in it with respect to penalties, 13 apiece.
Oh, Sloane. That pass had to be on the money. It was. And 13-8. They're still sitting on 4 and 5 goal leads as we get near quarter time.
There'll be a 2-on-1 in the circle with Mel McKenzie out for a holding call. She moved off the mark then. She stepped from the out-of-play position into the circle with the shooter as the shooter stepped forward and got away with it. Don't quite know how she managed that.
You call that a sleight of foot?
Yeah.
Okay. Sloane, Masukas putting on some moves. Illich and Garbutt still coming to terms, really, with the dynamic shooting duo. Sloane. And Illich, the long arms, grabbed the rebound. And Illich with 5 rebounds already. 5 of the Kestrel 6 rebounds. And Alphen. Through Booth to Richardson.
Queensland working very well outside the circle. Gillette and Matthews switching beautifully to cover each other's players. There's been no quarter given to the feeders.
And the Kestrels get it back to 3. You can see the venue here really starting to fill for what's a double-header evening after what's been a beautiful Anzac Day in Melbourne.
First goal on the board for Andrea Booth, and it comes just within seconds of the break.
Well, they'll rue this a little, the Firebirds. They've had the lead out to 5, and it's back to 2. They'll want to convert here, and slick work again. Bazookas, Miller. And Sloane's accuracy has just gone, and she's drifted down to 5 from 11. They really need her to convert. They've had 21 attempts to 16, but only lead by 2. Neal, maybe by 1. Now, did that goal count? I'm not quite sure. We've got 13-11 at the moment. We'll check with the scorer's bench. But certainly a little comeback there from the Kestrels at the end of that quarter has them back in it at the first break.
And that's the stats page that Sue Hawkins, the Queensland coach, will be pleased to see. It has them enjoying a slim lead at the first break. What's been impressive for them has been the amount of possession they've been able to put up to goal. They've enjoyed 5 more scoring opportunities than their opponents at goal, so that possession has been important. Also impressive is only the 1 turnover, so they've made good when they've had possession all the way down to the court. So a very tidy start from the Firebirds.
And that final goal did count. It's just a 1-goal difference at quarter time. 13-12, the Firebirds. Underway in the second quarter, and Annie, just to go over that last goal, where certainly at the end of the first quarter, the ball had not passed through the hoop when the whistle went for quarter time, but that was a penalty or an advantage. The Jeff Farrelly rule.
We couldn't quite hear it, but we think she's called the penalty as the shot's gone up, and therefore it's gone through as that basically an advantage goal. Yeah,
so it stands, and the difference back to 1, so the momentum has actually been with the trailing side. I think the Kestrels feel their confidence rising. After settling into the match, Sin O'Neill 11 from 15, 1 from 3 for Booth. So rather lopsided goal shooting there. But Neal tends to put up a lot of shots, doesn't she? She's in everything.
Well, she's one of the more prolific scorers in the competition. And that's interesting because if you look at the comparative experience of Andrea Booth to Sin O'Neill, Booth has only put up 51 goals in the Commonwealth Bank Trophy. Sin O'Neill has scored 429 to date, so vastly more experience. Chiseling away.
Yeah,
that record will change.
Got the second goal a lot earlier in the quarter than she did in the first.
I think from both coaches' perspectives, if they could get their shooters to become more involved and to lift the accuracy, they would feel like they are in a position to win, but it applies to both.
Sloane will be pleased that one went through. Her accuracy went off in the second half of the first quarter. She has had 13 shots, a return of 6. Stevens, cross court it goes, always a little bit risky when it's a long ball and a transverse pass. Sloan, checks the footwork, checks the whereabouts of Razoukas. And she is 9 from 11. After being 5 from 11 at quarter time.
It's Razoukas that's the most accurate on court coming into the half-time break with 15 from 19.
Just under 4 minutes to go in the second quarter. Richardson. Neal just stops on that left foot. Oh, through the hands. Booth trying to get it back. Just lost sight of it. Did she take her eyes off the ball? It's who knows.
Andrew Booth, of course, not getting much court time with the Melbourne Phoenix, where she's moved across from, sitting behind McMahon and Southey, as you would expect. So she'd be relishing the opportunity to be in the starting 7, round 1.
Illich came well out of the circle to try and dispossess the Firebirds there. She'd have been relieved that one didn't go through.
Queensland setting up a press across the transverse line, just the top of the mid-third.
Kestrels escape it, but the long, quick hands of Mackenzie stop it once more. Richardson. That one is against Stevens. Shot for Neal. Mackenzie forced to defend too. Neal untroubled by that defensive work. Great crowd in now. And Firebirds just at the end of this quarter need to make sure they protect this little lead that they've had. Razoukas playing her part. It was in the last couple of minutes of the first quarter that the Kestrels put on a burst. Richardson. Neal.
The thing that Matthews is cutting out of Shelley O'Donnell's game is the cut and drive she likes so much. She's able to get out on the first ball, but Matthews is really holding her up off the circle, not making that next little move available.
Oh, good hands from Illich, but it favours only Sloan.
Well, that was shades of Inspector Gadget that we know and love, but just didn't fall the right way. Up she goes. Oh, that arm's got to be twice the length of the other. It was a beautiful stretch, and that's kind of vintage Illich.
Last 90-odd seconds of the first half, and the first match for these two teams, Kestrels and Firebirds, and it's a good outing for both. Try and pick a winner. The scoreline this close, halfway through, it'll be a pretty game. It might still be favoured. I understand if you did pick the Kestrels, they've got this 10-2 record against the Firebirds. Firebirds giving as good as they're getting. Stevens and Mackenzie doing a good job back there with 7 rebounds between them. Mind you, Illich has got 6 of her own for the Kestrels. Matthews.
Oh, moving the toes of the left foot ever so subtly out of the circle was Michelle Gillette.
Well, O'Donnell takes it. And they're just trying to get this last goal. Half a minute left. In fact, there's plenty of time for them. Neal. It may be time for one more if this goes through.
Great shot under pressure from Sinner Neal. A much-needed goal.
Gillette. Sloan. Razoukas just stops on a sixpence. Oh, brilliant work from Sloan to give Razoukas the second chance. And they might get another. No, they won't. As Miller fell into the circle now. Just a few seconds left. Not enough seconds. And Miller going for one from outside the circle. That is half-time. And, well, the Firebirds, after all of that, have extended their lead by just one. It's a very good match unfolding. 27-25 to the Firebirds.
Taking a look at the stats at half-time. Not too too much in the penalty count separating the two teams. The Firebirds slightly the more costly of the two. Turnovers favour the Firebirds, though. The Kestrels a little more wasteful of possession. Attempts, again, nothing much in it, and that's reflected, as you can see, with the percentages about the same. 68 plays 66. That's reflected in the scoreline, a very even contest.
So it's just the Firebirds by 2 at halftime. Third quarter begins. The Kestrels with a little bit to do. I still reckon they can probably achieve it. But, only trailing by a couple. They've made a couple of changes, though. Booth and Neal up front have swapped, as they have at the back Illich and Garbett. So those subtle changes. We saw Mark Caldo having a chat to her defenders, Annie, at half-time. What might have been the message?
Well, I think the message must have been along the lines of there's too much space being given to Michelle Razoukas and not enough pressure on her offloads to Sloane. The Firebirds really able to throw that ball around pretty comfortably. So I think they'll be looking to keep Razoukas a little quieter and have Illich sit back and really concentrate on the shooter nearer the post. At the other end, Neal has been the scoring shooter of the two, Booth with only 6 goals to date in the match. So I guess that comes along the lines of sitting Neal back to continue the work under the post.
I wonder if I detect in the first minute of this third quarter a new level of urgency from the Kestrels. Might be looking to up the tempo.
I think you're right. I think the handbrake's been on for the first half of this match, and that's taking nothing away from the Firebirds, who just look a fantastic unit. Season 2003, and that's fantastic. That's exciting. And I'm happy to watch a goal-for-goal game for another half. Bring it on.
And Neal, they've got it back to 1. If they get a bit of a roll on too, this crowd might well lift the Kestrels, who finished in the top 4 last season, but were bundled out of the finals in the first week. Razoukas. Takes that rebound off the hand of others, and Illich does well on the stretch. It's come only to Matthews, though. They get another chance. Firebirds. Illich in the back of Razoukas. Plays it on to Sloane. Sloane checks the post. Yep, still there, but she can't find it. Razoukas. Garbett thought it was out. I think she was just playing it for the throw.
She did. Razoukas lost the handle, and I thought it did go out. I thought Garbett was picking up for that.
Well, Stacey Camden didn't think it went out. And that's the one that matters. And Garbett sort of slapped it onto the court, waiting for a throw-in, and it was play on. It doesn't matter what team sport you're playing, it's play the whistle, isn't it?
Yeah, and they're in a much better position than you or I, but it did look very much like it was going to be a throw-in. Kestrel just can't make use of the turnover, and they're at a stage where it's really important to create it and then convert it.
Razoukas. That's off the hands of Bianca Van Alphen.
Firebirds not quite playing as wide around the circle edge as they were in the first quarter. That, of course, creates quite a few angles to the play, and they use those angles beautifully. At the moment, they're trying to force it through spaces that don't exist, so perhaps Mark Caldo has pulled the right reins.
Illich. Garbett. Van Alphen.
Oh, almost intercepted by Neal.
Contact on attack.
And just a possible injury here for Stevens. A hand to the eyes and a hand to the knee. Get a poke in the eye, perhaps. Ouch.
Getting a little more physical the longer this game goes, as the margin stays very tight. Out comes a little extra from both teams. Evidence of it there. Sinna Neal and Mel McKenzie going a round or two.
McKenzie to the floor at the feet of Shelley O'Donnell.
They've been very tidy so far in the match. Both teams are not particularly costly. They need to keep that level of discipline under the pressure.
Firebirds by 1. Sinna Neal on screen there. I think once she's taller than she looks. And you stand beside her and talk to her. On court, she doesn't look an especially tall shooter, but you go and talk to her. She's well over the old 6-foot mark. She looks down on me.
She's also deceptively fast. She's a very fluent mover on court. You look at her height and you think, oh, perhaps a little proppy, but she's a very smooth mover. And I think she's enjoying sitting at the back of the line now.
I think why she doesn't look so tall, she's not a tall gangler. She's a strong build.
Steps back to clear some room from the long reach of Mackenzie.
And this will go in the way of the Kestrels. Mark Caldo on the left and Mark Molina.
Mark Molina actually gave me a place in the Australian team, my first ever spot.
Well, after you paid her?
No, she fell pregnant. And I'll leave it up to you as to who I paid. I was really pleased to hear the news. I've never been as happy. It's always good news, that news, for anybody, but I've never been as happy for anybody as I was for her.
Rusukas lets that one roll, bounce towards the post at least, and to her advantage. So still the Firebirds hold on to this 2-goal lead, and it says something about their composure. If the Kestrels were to draw level, get one in front, want to be careful of Firebirds that it's not good night. They do want to stay in front, stay with the Kestrels for as long as they possibly can, and see if pressure doesn't help them out a little.
And the pressure is coming. You can feel the intensity of this quarter compared to the previous two. The margin no different from previously in the game, but the intensity's lifted and the crowd far more involved.
The ball belongs to Stevens. No, it doesn't.
Nice try. Well, I guess you got to try. They put it down, you pick it up.
Yeah. Chance to rebuild the lead for Firebirds. That one's off the foot of Booth.
Booth's using all the tricks. You, of course, can't deliberately strike at the ball with your foot, but that was unintentional. It was in an effort to intercept.
Sloan, Rusukas. Sloan works the baseline. Needs this one. And takes it quickly and confidently. That was better.
That was a little prettier. That was, as we saw in the first quarter from the Firebirds. I'm impressed that they've held their composure and they've tried to recapture some of the pretty moves they put out earlier on. Little help from a friend.
Pretty promising combination building between Rusukas and Sloan, Annie, who would, before going through the Firebirds, wouldn't have spent much time together. One being from Sydney, one from Melbourne.
No, there's a connection between Miller and Sloan, but not between the two shooters, and they seem to have a natural understanding. I'm sure Susie Hawkins has put a lot of time in with them, but it's evident they have a good understanding of the way each other moves onto the ball.
Disappointment for Miller as the lead's back out to 4 and they had a chance for 5. But Richardson, Kestrel's captain. Oh, quick hands from Mackenzie, who has impressed in this match.
Queensland's full-court defence has been wonderful in this game. If this is a sign of things to come for the season, they're going to have a very happy one.
They get tremendous support at home too, the Firebirds. So going to Chandler to watch them play is just a lot of fun.
I'm a little concerned about the cross-dressing at times, though.
But they've got an enthusiastic and loyal following up there. No matter how well the season's going for them, they get a good roll-up. And if they start to get some results away from home to build on, watch out. Who's got it? Booth.
That's one of the few passages down court that has been wide open in this entire match. Queensland fell off their task then, and some good speed from the Kestrels. We've not seen that cut and drive really at any stage in the game. It's been one off.
8-7 the Firebirds lead this quarter. Quite a low-scoring one, unless there's a late burst in the closing 3 minutes as we approach three-quarter time.
Rusuka's pulling herself well off the circle towards the transverse line to open space.
And just testing the strength of that wall was Janine Illich. There's not a lot of her. Here she goes, and she's all right, thank goodness. Felt that back in Kuirup.
Well, it reinforces the umpire's concerns and the demands when building courts and complexes nowadays for the adequate runoff for players. I mean, that was simply striving for the ball. She didn't overdo it. It's just her natural athleticism and going for it. You need that runoff area. It's dangerous.
especially if they lose their footing just a pace or two beyond the baseline, and tumble they will into whatever's there. Sloane, Stevens.
Yeah, Gillette indecisive then. She neither cut back onto the ball nor drove the corner, and
that was a clumsy one from Van Alphen, and Miller just checks to see who that was, which truck it was that ran over the top of her.
Get the number plates.
Yeah.
Fine shot from Razoukas, who's at 72%, 21 from 29.
By 5, and I think the Melbourne crowd a little stunned that the unfancied Firebirds have come here with a win in mind and a win in their sights.
It's not the debut Mark Calder would want, I know that. He's a strong competitor.
Razoukas, and the lead out to 6. Hasn't been like this since early in the first quarter. 90 seconds for the Kestrels to try and take something out of this margin. Richardson, strong take over Gillette. Boo. 10 from 19 she is. Razoukas, Sloane. Just need to make sure, I guess, of their last couple of possessions of this quarter. Firebirds, that helps the confidence of Sloane, who's drifted in and out with her shooting, but is on right now and has lifted her percentage to 63.
Her main contribution has been in setting up plays and in her combination, but the shooting, not a standout feature for Nat Sloane in this one, but she's been good in the lineup.
Ooh.
It seemed to take forever, that shot, particularly for Mal McKenzie, who was counting to 3 seconds and holding off on a couple of toes.
Neil had the luxury of going for that rebound twice. The ball just sat on the rim. Got it at the second attempt. Can the Firebirds make this the last possession and last goal? Oh, great vision to pick up Sloane. Can she put it away? Yes, she can.
I think there'll be some changes in the break for the Kestrels. I'll have to pull it out.
And it took this almost too quickly as Sloane pulls the trigger and has left the Kestrels with perhaps one last chance. 7, 6 seconds. And they're trying to slow it down, the Firebirds. O'Donnell.
Well, then again, if they want this opportunity, Natty would have done it just right.
And Farrelly does indeed blow three-quarter time to signal a great quarter for the Queensland Firebirds. Have they set up a win here? They lead the Kestrels at three-quarter time by 6.
Well, let's take a look at the Kestrels' stats. They've been very costly in the turnover department. They've had 17 turnovers. By comparison, the Firebirds only 10. In the penalty area, Van Alphen been by far the most costly. And in fact, it's not much between the two teams. She's one of the most costly on court overall. Possession, too, is hurting the Kestrels, and it's all ahead of them going into this final quarter.
Well, is this the year that the Queensland Firebirds win a round 1 clash? They haven't done it in the previous 6 years of the Commonwealth Bank Trophy. They might never get a better chance. They're up 40-34. And Daly is on in defence for the Melbourne Kestrels at goalkeeper. And up front, Burton is on and has it now. Looking to make this first shot a good one. But Neil is there for the rebound. Tapped out of her hands by Stevens. So Neil will get the shot from close range.
Well, we preempted that before the break, that Mark Calder would have to do something. She's given the starting 7 time enough to settle. And for a while it looked like they may be able to turn it around, but the gap opened again.
Burton. They spent a lot of time on court with Neil. There'll be no trouble with that combination.
No, it's more a matter of how quickly she can settle into the match. She's one of the more accurate. She put up 251 goals coming into this, and she was on the top 10 list for most accurate shooters, as was Sinna Neal, so she should have experience behind her.
I think putting out players like Daly and Burton, left out of the starting 7, but with plenty of ability, they go out there with 2 aims, really, to impress the coach and get the result.
Just ask Beckham.
That's right. Solskjaer can't play. What's he doing out there for poor Mr. Beckham? What a match that was. An extravagance of an evening, I think Martin Tyler called it, and it was beautifully described. Another round ball code, about the same size.
Same size, yeah, number 5.
Daly. Neal. And O'Donnell runs as fast as ever to the corner. I'm sure she's lost none of her speed. Chasing little Hannah around the house for the last 12 months or so. Oh, it's rather short. And Burton 2 from 4 in the early going. If the lead is only 4 now, they'll want to convert here. Sloane turns, checks.
Well, again, the timing excellent in the Queensland forward line. Sutters on the shot. That's been the feature through the night, though.
And those long arms of Illich. Tapped from behind by Mackenzie. And umpire taking a dim view of that defence from behind Burton. Steps in. She's got Neal there. And Stevens does well.
Well, if anything, Stevens gave the luxury of probably a foot more than she needed to. She didn't really close right up on that step in. She played it safe. Shut it down. That's all that counts. As Kirsten Daly comes up with another. She's been instrumental in a couple of turnovers since taking the court.
I think Sloane contributed to that one. That's Stevens. What a match she's having. And Illich. Oh, what a pair.
Well, I hope I don't put the jinx on them, but Queensland just won't die. Every time there's a turnover, they have the reply.
Seemed a slightly soft call. But, oh, Mackenzie and Neal. Putting everything on the line, both teams. They're desperate for these points. We knew they would be. Round 1. It can really set the platform for a season. If you get that victory in the first match, Richardson.
Oh, fingertip control from Richardson.
And the call goes against Mackenzie. Here come the Kestrels. O'Donnell senses it. And Neal converts. The margin is back to 2. It was 6 at 3/4 time. Hold on to your hats. Miller. He takes the pass just outside the circle. Sloane, they need this. A little bit of a settler. They've been outscored 5-2 at the start of the last quarter, the Firebirds, having led throughout. In fact, the Firebirds have never trailed, have they?
No. Came out running. They got to, I think, 6-1, maybe 7-1. I know it was then 8-3. So they came out with the intent to make their coach smile, and it's still there so far.
The Firebirds have often just been 1 behind, as they were indeed at quarter time and at parts of the second and third quarter. Firebirds, can they do it? This is a really promising start. They're gut-wrenching loss if they don't complete it.
They set up the press mid-court.
Plenty of time left for the Kestrels to pull this one out of the fire. O'Donnell. Burton. Matthews.
A brilliant speed from Leanne Matthews. Has had a great game.
They are contesting everything. That's true of all 14 players on court. I think it's the intensity will certainly impress the coaches. What about the execution? And that is a whistle against Stevens. Shouldering Neal off the ball.
That was a clumsy challenge from Mal Mackenzie, who needed to sit back on it a little. Now they're both out.
And it's shooting practice for Neal. And she's 28 from 38. 74%. They're just shooting at 65%, the Kestrels. 69 for Firebirds. Not easy to come on in a tense last quarter as your first quarter for Burton and fire up straight away.
Shooting hasn't been a feature of this match. Some of the ball skills and the down-court play, but not the actual shooting. Razukas, though...
just lets out a big gasp of air as that one sailed through for her. She's at 74%.
She's been pretty consistent right across the match. But often we have at least 1 or 2 sitting up in the 80s, and that's not been the case in this game.
Oh, again, well done between Mackenzie and Stevens to conjure the rebound between them. Hesitant shot from Burton.
Well, that has been a feature of the Queensland game, their ability to snuff out the rebounds. Oh, and pretty play, not finished though.
Daly came late.
Contact acknowledged by Deb Farrelly. She awards the penalty with Daly out. And that's a bit of breathing space.
They've got the centre pass now and a lead of 4. Sloane checks the scoreboard and the time left. And those details are up above the centre circle here at the State Netball and Hockey Centre.
That was a very important couple of minutes for Queensland. Under pressure, Kestrels had run it down from 6 to within 2. The chance to make the break, and they just held their ground. So very important mature play from Queensland.
Oh, and both teams now guilty of throwing ambitious passes, result in a turnover. Firebirds relieved to get it back without the Kestrel scoring. Gillette, Matthews, who's got the early fitness. And the pre-season for both teams started, I think, in November, and they are more than primed for this match.
I think it's the mental fitness they need to finish off this. It's really difficult to teach a team that has the lead but is being challenged not to panic, just to play possession.
And the Firebirds, this lineup, not that used to this position. As we say, only 4 wins last year, and that was a good year for them, finishing 6th. Richardson. And that will be a Kestrel's possession, but they're down by 5 and 6.5 to go. They need a couple of turnovers and to convert all goals. Goal attempts. McKenzie.
Good pressure from Gillette on the edge of the circle to put Richardson in that position.
Oh, Illich, thief in the night. Put those long arms to good use there. Richardson, can she run it down? Oh, crashes into her own team bench, and take more than that to stop her.
Not a happy skipper, though, is she?
No, need a St Kilda Road tram, I think, to stop Richardson in her tracks.
I think she would just have enjoyed better placement on the ball, so she didn't quite have to run as hard as that train.
Sloane. Oh, smart work. Rasukas and Sloane, that's taking the defence apart in textbook fashion. And they might just be starting to believe. It's 46-40. It'll be a big time in the old town tonight, I think, for the Firebirds. They won't be going back to Brisbane until tomorrow.
If you can assume that these two will only get better, and there's no reason not to think it, it's their first outing in Commonwealth Bank Trophy.
Look at the smiles on the bench. An unchanged line right through the match for the Firebirds. Sloane, Rasukas, Miller, Gillette, Matthews, Stevens and McKenzie. And the subs can snip a win here, an historic one. They've never won a round 1 match.
Well, I hope the importance of that dawns on the rookies in the team, the likes of Rasukas, who haven't been in the lineup before. But Rasukas and Sloane will be a combination to be reckoned with. If they can keep the accuracy up, they're already proving that the combination between the two of them is a beautiful one.
Rasukas had some matches last year for the Firebirds, didn't she?
Yeah, just a few, but not in this line.
Sloane again checks the scoreboard. Looks pretty healthy. A lead of 7. Just about their biggest of the match. And 4:28 to go. Marg Caldo has not looked for an excuse to perhaps have a timeout. No injury timeouts if it was come to call them. Daly did quite well. Sloane jumps up and down on the spot in disappointment and can nearly smile a grimace, or grimace a smile. Illich, Richardson, it's laboured, isn't it?
Well, that was almost a triple play. I'm not sure why Gillette didn't eat it up. It was telegraphed on the sideline between Illich and O'Donnell.
Time running out for the Kestrels. They'd have looked at the draw and thought, round 1, we should win this match. I don't know whether those thoughts entered their head in a negative way. Gillette.
Oh, nice screen again from Rasukas. Takes it herself. Can't finish.
O'Donnell. Burton to Richardson. St O'Neill drives along the baseline, but they go back to the top of the circle. through O'Donnell to Burton, and Burton gets this time. Just her third goal from 7 attempts in the last quarter.
I think it really comes back to halfway through this quarter when the gap came to 2 and Queensland were able to hold. That was a crucial segment in the game.
Third quarter hurt the Kestrels a little, with Booth shooting 4 from 8 and even Sin O'Neill 5 from 9. Wasn't quite good enough as the Firebirds stretched it to 6. Neil. Gillette. So under 3 minutes left. Have to back the Firebirds in from here, but the Kestrels might be able to string a few quick goals together. It wasn't Janine Illich taking a centre pass. He just happens to be the spot where it has. Penalty was given. Richardson. Burton. And it's possession to the Firebirds. It's 49-43. 2 to go. Matthews. Miller. Oh, Gillette in a heap of space. Strong challenge from Daly. No whistle on the challenge, and the throw-in is for the Kestrels. Daly's tried hard in 1 quarter of netball that she's been given. Burton. They really need to take their chances quickly as time runs out. Just a minute and a half to go. McKenzie, yet another rebound. Gillette. And they can sense it on the bench, especially if this one goes through for Razoukas, which it does, and 50-43. Well, a bit of a shock for the Kestrels. And I think the other teams in the competition will look at this result with raised eyebrows. What have the Firebirds got to offer in 2003? Plenty on the evidence of the 60 minutes we've seen here. Away from home, they don't score too many wins away from home, the Firebirds. And as we say, they've never won a round 1 clash, but they're about to. Inside the last minute, a lead of 7. As Razoukas. It's another 51-43. And the crowd has gone strangely quiet. Touch from Van Alphen to deny Miller possession. But they're getting pretty excited over on that Queensland Firebirds bench, I can tell you. Sloane on the stretch to complete the job. Only a few moments left. It's 52-43, the Firebirds. Maybe time for one more from the Kestrels. We've got a lot of work to do before round 2. And that will be their next match. It's all over here. And the Firebirds can celebrate a 52-43 win. Well, one more shot to be taken. And it does go. So 52-44 it is in the end. It was a penalty that needed to be taken after the whistle. But we do have a score of 52-44 for the Firebirds. So a little bit of history for them, gathering their first round 1 win of the National League. And it's happened in their 7th season. And they are delighted with a margin of 8 over the Kestrels. Here's Anne Sargent.
Thanks, Deb. Well, joining me, Michelle Razoukas, goal attack for Queensland. Michelle, you guys know how to silence a Melbourne crowd, and an historic first ever round 1 win for Queensland.
It is pretty exciting. We've worked at it for the past, 4 months in our pre-season, and to come out in our first round is just a great way to start off the season.
Michelle, everybody's been working out in the pre-season and across the summer, but you and Natty Sloane made it look like you played together all your careers.
Yeah, well, we haven't had much time together, but we seem to, have that little bit of a spark between us. So she's a great player to work with and with a lot of experience, which is good to help with the team.
Well, it was very pretty to watch. I enjoyed it. Congratulations own game, magnificent game, but I guess we've got to wrap up your defence end as well. The full-court defence was exceptional from the Firebirds, but I thought Leanne Matthews was really torrid on Shelley O'Donnell, really kept her quiet.
Yeah, Leanne's been around for a while. I think that was her 80th game tonight, so she knows what she's doing against Shelley, and that's, pretty good effort by Leanne, I think.
Well, I've got a comment on Susie Hawkins, an older teammate of mine. She had a smile on her face so wide in the first 5 minutes of the match, I was scared to death it would go downhill from there. How long do you think that smile will stay there?
Well, she's had this feeling all week, actually, so to pull this off for her is, it's pretty good and it's pretty special, so...
Well, congratulations. It was a magnificent start to the season, a brilliant game for you. Is that what we can expect from the Firebirds all season?
You certainly can, Anne.
Well, I think the whole Queensland Firebirds team will be smiling all the way back to Brisbane after that win. A couple of points that are probably worth more than just that to them as they look to build a good season in 2003. Our transmission this year on ABC Sport involves 2 games each week. Have another one coming up for you later today. Do check your local guides, though. Here's how the schedule looks. Our other match from this opening round involves the Adelaide Thunderbirds and Sydney Sandpipers this afternoon, but the time does vary depending on where you're watching. Next week, the 11 a.m. game on Saturday is the Swifts at home to the Thunderbirds in what shapes as the match of the round. And later, the Queensland Firebirds and Melbourne Phoenix. What a match that will be, with the Queensland Firebirds taking so much confidence away from this win over the Melbourne Kestrels. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to check our website, abc.net.au/netball, for all the results and stories. I'm Steve Rebellion on behalf of Anne Sargent. It's goodbye from Melbourne.
Monday on Enough Rope, sporting legend Dennis Lilly's secret to bowling bouncers.
Stand still, I find it very difficult to hit a moving target.
And how to spot fear in a batsman.
This is the Enough Rope scale of batsmen's brown pants.
Plus, 3 fishers take Andrew in hook, line and sinker. Interviews with a twist. Enough Rope with Andrew Denton. 9:30 Monday, ABC.
Our adventures in Frontier Valley are about to end.
Like in Little House on the Prairie, we've had our Mrs. Olson.
For some, parting is sweet sorrow.
It's going to be tough leaving here.
Others have a different take.
Walking out of here, I think I'm going to have the biggest smile on my face.
But we can't go without some parting wisdom from Karen.
I'm in there cooking, and Mark's wanting to get all romantic. He's going to get hit in the head with a hot pan. That's how it is.
Sunday, farewell to Frontier House.
It's the ABC Shop Easter sale, so get cracking and come on in for great music, books, audio, video, toys and clothing. The ABC Shop Easter sale, on now.
Rehabilitate children who've been traumatised by war, poverty and disease. To make a donation, call UNICEF on 1300 134 071.
Tonight, Parky meets Mrs. McCartney as she reveals her life with a legend.
Got to keep his feet on the ground.
You see, that is your job, some anchoring Paul McCartney do.
Then sparks fly between hunky George Clooney and the hilarious Dawn French.
I don't want to compromise you on TV, George, but it's got to stop. Just leave me alone. I am married, get over it, move on.
Exceptional entertainment. Parkinson's, 9:30 tonight.
Victoria's TAC accused of undermining Western Australia's criminal justice system
after it used confidential rape trial documents to fight a compensation case. Hello and welcome to Stateline. I'm Josephine Cafagna. This week, how well prepared is Victoria for SARS? Health officials are to be given power to detain and quarantine suspected carriers as our hospitals remain on standby. And later in the program, Anzac Day, pride through the eyes of teenage cadets.
You feel a great sense of pride when you're actually marching down, carrying the banner, and realise what people actually did to allow you to actually carry this banner.
Victoria's Transport Accident Commission is to come under the scrutiny of Western Australia's Solicitor General after the TAC obtained confidential rape trial documents in Perth and used them to fight a compensation claim in Victoria. The case has led to criticism of the TAC by the WA Director of Public Prosecutions, who says the action has undermined that system's criminal justice system. It's also led to an apology from the Chief Justice of the WA Supreme Court to rape victim Alana Smith.
What's going on that you cannot see? Just look a little deeper within me.
I'm struggling to pay the bills. All I've got really is I fall back on my music that gets me through. There's nothing really else that I enjoy. I don't go out. I stay home. I'm quite depressed really that this has happened. So I find solace in writing. That's my only enjoyment really. And I hope to get justice, and that's why I'm fighting.
At 29, Alana Smith has been through what no one in a lifetime would hope to experience. As a child living in Perth, she was raped by her oldest brother over 4 years, beginning when she was 8.
On the inside, they don't see the scars. On the inside.
As an adult, Alana moved to Melbourne for a new life and hoping to forge a successful singing career.
I had a car accident in 1994. It was pretty much a head-on. We were turning right. We hit the oncoming vehicle, and we were pushed backwards.
Despite years of medical treatment supported by the Transport Accident Commission, including 2 operations on her neck, Alana was left with 29% body impairment. That's when she decided to seek common law compensation from the TAC through the county court.
They didn't dispute any of my medical evidence that was supplied by my doctors. They disputed my credibility, and they brought into court a victim impact statement that I had put to the Supreme Court in WA for a separate rape incident, rape trial, whereas I was the victim.
The Transport Accident Commission's legal counsel was ready to fight the claim. Senior counsel for the TAC, Andrew Kirkham, was well researched for the court case. He'd obtained Alana's highly confidential victim impact statement used in the rape trial in Perth. Alana, the TAC had discovered, was also seeking criminal injuries compensation in Western Australia for her rape trauma.
This Sunday on Compass, the healing power of poetry. It lifted a group of Changi prisoners beyond their brutal existence and conjured feelings of home and hope.
And you were able to escape on the wings of poetry, I suppose, or poetic imagination.
What wars have arisen when my thought is free and soars to meet your love?
Hear their story in Changi Days, Sunday on Compass.
The report of my death, Twain said, has been greatly exaggerated.
From humble beginnings to the nation's best-selling author, Mark Twain led an extraordinary life.
I was born modest, but it didn't last.
One of unbearable tragedy and enduring success.
He used the way we talk and turned it into literature.
Ken Burns' compelling portrait of Mark Twain on video from ABC shops, ABC centres, video retailers and online. If you're not watching Enough Rope with Andrew Denton, you've missed Heath Ledger, Lane Beachley, John Elliott, Nova Paris, Molly Meldrum and Richard Roxburgh, just to name a few. Who'll surprise you this week? Enough Rope with Andrew Denton, 9:30 Monday.
Two of the perennial finalists meet in round one of the new season. The Thunderbirds at home to the Sandpipers. Welcome to Adelaide and to the 2003 Commonwealth Bank Trophy. I'm Steve Rebillard for ABC Sport. Great to have you on board for what is a different-looking competition this year. The Adelaide Ravens have had to make way for the new Canberra Darters. That makes the Adelaide Thunderbirds the sole focus of the passionate South Australian netball public, at least as far as the National League is concerned. So we've got a couple of teams very keen for the points today. Monica Lam, should be a great game.
Should be, Steve. Sandpipers up against the Thunderbirds. Thunderbirds still have the strength in their lineup. There's Kath Harvey-Williams playing in her testimonial year. She's got one more trophy to get, and that'll be the grand final at the end for Kath. Also, Peter Squire, now Peter Scholes in wing defence. That's the strength of Thunderbirds lineup. But Jo Morgan, Sandpiper shooter, she's going to really target those two players.
A late decision by the Thunderbirds not to play new import Nat Avellino. Mon, can you give us the short version?
Short version, Steve, is that Nat was expected to play just prior to the game. She was named, but they have withdrawn Nat Avellino. And as the week unfolds, I'm sure we'll hear more about that scenario.
Well, we've got two very experienced captains out there in Jo Morgan and Kath Harvey-Williams, but it has been a disruptive week for the Thunderbirds.
Yeah, it has been up and down and difficult not knowing our final lineup until the 11th hour, but as athletes we have to cope with that, and we have had a good pre-season and we're so hopefully that'll occur tonight.
With our off-season purchases have been unreal. They've added a lot of depth to our squad, picked up Alison Tucker in defence, and she's added a whole new dimension to our defence line. And we've also got Christy Doyle back from Kestrels, Kelly Adamson from Swifts, and they've just slotted into the team like they've been members for 5 years, so it's been really good.
And there is Nat Avellino, disappointed to be finding herself sitting behind the Thunderbirds bench. It's all over residency. Has she been in South Australia long enough and under the right conditions? That will all get sorted out in the next week or two. South Australian Netball and Netball Australia goes through the process. And we hope that Nat Avellino, a very gifted player, can be part of the game again very shortly. As the Thunderbirds in possession to start this important match. Sanders and through to Heinrich, one of the players that they picked up from the Ravens. And Delaney to get the first shot away, offloads again to Sanders, works herself a little closer, and as accurate as ever, Jackie Delaney begins the season for the Thunderbirds.
And also the Sandpipers with a few South Australian imports. One of those being Jackie Roberts, who is currently on the bench for the Sandpipers.
Contact against Fellows, first shot for Jo Morgan. And she may, in this game, reach 3,000 goals, the first player to do so in the Commonwealth Bank Trophy.
Putting money on that, Steve, I think it's highly likely, don't you?
Highly likely. Oh, as Hodge gets a touch. But the Sandpipers have a poor record against the Thunderbirds. Thunderbirds 11-1 on their head-to-head. Delaney finds herself open on the baseline and shoots over Wannop.
Good start from Jackie Delaney.
And a good crowd, too. It looked a little sparse perhaps half an hour ago, but I think a lot of walk-ups tonight, and that'll please South Australian Netball here at Etzer Park, and ready to make a bit of noise for now the only team in the National League for them.
And I think also, Steve, with the school holidays still on here in South Australia, the cost of the tickets has been very reasonable for the average family.
It's sometimes been a discussion point, hasn't it, whether to get more people through if they just drop the prices a little, and on the other hand, you want to maximise your revenue, so it's a difficult one to get absolutely right.
But here today, it's working for the Adelaide Thunderbirds. Great supporters. Former player in Alison Tucker in goal defence.
Morgan ventures out of the circle, flicked out by Sanders, who actually ventured offside.
That should be another good tussle between opposing centres and Alex Hodge and Rebecca Sanders.
And in the second penalty against Fellows, Morgan doesn't even bother to step in. And contact is against Adamson.
Kelly Adamson last year shooting at 74%.
One of their pickups from the Swifts. Been a lot of movement off-season. I think it just makes it a little bit more exciting as the sport matures, this transition of players from club to club. Hasn't quite worked out yet for Nat Avellino, but it may do.
Heinrich posts her first one there for the Adelaide Thunderbirds.
Scholes. That's going to be difficult to get used to, Peter Scholes' married name.
We must ask her, is it Scholes or is it Scholes? Dr. Scholes.
Oh, dear. We can ask her inner soul. Heinrich.
Deep breath there from Kristen Heinrich. She'd be glad to get those two under her belt coming over from the Ravens and playing with arguably one of the best players in this competition, Jackie Delaney.
So a few unforced errors coming from the Sandpipers as they find themselves trailing by 3 early. Sanders gives Hodge the slip to create some space. Delaney, Bomberto, and they're looking pretty sharp, and a well-placed ball finds Heinrich.
Thunderbirds working the circle wide open.
Thunderbirds 4 in a row, and it's very early to make a call on it, but I like the look of the early work between Heinrich and Delaney. They've got to build that partnership, of course.
And that was great running there from Bomberto into the pocket. Heinrich drew the contact. 3 from 3 for Heinrich.
6 from 7 for the Thunderbirds. Now, their accuracy plagued them a little bit last year, Mon. This is a good early sign.
They had the majority of shots last year, but they were 5th in the ladder of consistency as far as their percentage.
70 to 37 in round 10. 70 to 48 the other meeting earlier in the year. The Sandpipers' only victory against the Thunderbirds came in 2001, 67-51. It was a good win, but only 1 out of 12.
And if my memory serves me correct, I think the Thunderbirds were low on personnel on that occasion.
You're making excuses a long way out from the facts here, Mon. That was, 2 years ago.
Prove it.
Hodge. Doyle and Hodge into the corner. And another contact from Fellows to Adamson, trying to get by her. A little hesitation on the shot, but that's good.
Penalties at the moment, early stage of the first quarter, very similar. Penalties against the Thunderbirds at 7 and the Sandpipers at 5.
Oh, Bomberto with a no-look pass to Delaney, and Heinrich receives from Sanders. They look pretty sharp. Adamson looking for something from the Sandpipers in the second half of this first quarter. Morgan did keep it in, but Fellows collects for the Thunderbirds.
Fellows did well to pin Morgan on the goal line.
Oh, and that was fortunate in the end to find Doyle. Schultz nearly had it. High ball for Morgan is good when it's accurate. She's almost unstoppable. Mind you, in Fellows, she's got a player nearly as tall.
Fellows stands at 188. Morgan at 190. But it's the strength of Morgan under the post, as it is here with Jackie Delaney.
Well, Tucker just lost her footing momentarily and gave Delaney all the space she needed.
Turned over there, Thunderbirds looking for the drive in Sanders.
Delaney needs one more for her 2,400th goal, but it's Heinrich putting this one away as Delaney is helped up by teammate and opposition. 10-4, great start, and in they go. And Gerard comes down with a mark.
Defensively well done there by Gerard and Adamson.
Well, Gerard won't shy the contest. A great athlete. High ball again meant for Morgan, but Fellows took up a good front position.
Defensively there it is. Bomberto trying to come through Gerard.
We give her a start in the Swans for that?
I'd say probably Port Power.
You think?
Let's bring her over here, yeah. Our statistician there just held his lip, I saw.
The Swans need the help. We might keep her in Sydney.
That's true.
Heinrich.
Great start from Kristen Heinrich. 6 from 6.
Well, I'm sure she was as sad as many people were in South Australia that the Ravens disappeared from the competition, but she looks to be making the most of her opportunity here. Morgan, strong take in front of Fellows. Gee, that's close to a held ball. And doesn't matter as Harvey Williams helps herself.
That has been the strength of the Thunderbirds defensively. Once they shut Morgan out, the rebound is coming from Harvey Williams and Fellows, working it down into the attack.
Delaney.
Long way out.
This is amazing goals. 12 from 13 for the Thunderbirds and 2,400 in total for Delaney.
Once again, Jackie Delaney. So the Adelaide Thunderbirds 13 from 14 attempts.
5 unanswered goals from the Thunderbirds. They've had a couple of good runs in this first quarter, hence this impressive lead with still 6:20 to go. Adamson.
Williams coming under, yes.
It's still going to take a while at the other end of the court, Mon, for Morgan and Adamson to work out their combination because they are new together as well.
And rarely have we seen this here at the moment. Morgan on 67%, but it's early minutes here in this first term.
We were discussing Joe Morgan's outings against the Thunderbirds before the match, Mon, saying that Sarah Sutter in years gone by has often kept her quiet, but today also Fellows and Harvey Williams doing a number on her early on.
And I think it was Fellows' first year with Harvey Williams last year, taking the place of Sarah Sutter. She's got that 1 year of experience under her belt. You would expect bigger things from her.
Mind you, the Thunderbirds still won both encounters by more than 20 goals last year. Morgan this time. And well, she'll get a second crack at it. Obstruction call on Joe Morgan. Who, well, in other circumstances, might have found herself turning out with the Thunderbirds. There was talk that she might have been lured here.
Yes, apparently that is the gossip in the netball circle, that Joe Morgan was approached by the Adelaide Thunderbirds to pull on a Guernsey, and what a coup that would have been.
Delaney. Not an easy thing in netball, a 90% amateur sport, to make an interstate transfer with things like careers to consider. And I think Joe Morgan, her job herself and her husband with work in Sydney, to make that transfer occur, and need a lot of things to fall into place.
So many other factors too, Steve. I mean, the emotional effect of perhaps you have close family, if you have children, or, as you said, career. To uproot everything and move to a new state would be very tough.
And 94% for the Thunderbirds. They'll take that. One miss coming from Delaney. She's 10 from 11, but she'll take that every week. And Heinrich 6 from 6.
Opening it up well there in the forward line. The Thunderbirds working from the top of the circle.
This is a brilliant effort right across the court from the Thunderbirds, because they're holding the Sandpipers to just 6 goals in 11 minutes. So great defence, accurate shooting, and of course the mid-court speed is always there when you base a mid-court around Sanders. Bonberto and Schultz helping out.
But it's the consistency also of the Thunderbirds mid-court that has been there over the last few years. As we've mentioned on numerous occasions, you've got Delaney, Sanders, unstoppable, just never gives up, and Peter Scholes in wing defence just assists in bringing that ball down court and also defending as it goes into the attack.
Well, great vision from Fellows to pick the long ball outlet. It's got Heinrich in possession in just 2 or 3 passes, and that one hurts.
Good offload there, Bomberto. Heinrich, give and cut. Great movement from that shooter.
Sometimes wonder how players in teams, say, in the bottom half of a competition would go in the higher placed teams, and I think you're seeing here how Heinrich is enjoying it.
Yeah. What an opportunity, as I said, to play with Jackie Lane. She's so creative, she will bring you into the game, and if you're not having such a good run, she'll ensure that she gives you a bit of confidence along the way.
And I mean no disrespect at all to the Ravens with that comment, just the opportunity to play in a team like the Thunderbirds. You can find another level yourself you may not have known you had.
Oh, strong one there.
Gerard again, the one standing tall, or at least solid. Morgan I think Fellows is doing a pretty reasonable job.
She's making her shake a bit on that shot. Jo Morgan, 6 from 8. 9 attempts to post for the Sandpipers.
And just one attempt, a successful one for Adamson. So she's not getting a lot of opportunities. Mind you, when Avellino was playing alongside Morgan, that was often the story too. Morgan doing the vast majority of the attempts. So under 2 minutes left, first quarter, and a 20-goal first quarter to open the season for the Thunderbirds. This is a tremendous beginning for them. As Fellows. Well, good contest. Sandpipers possession, though. Hodge. An effective split between the goalers creates a bit of space for Jo. And just 8 goals, though, for the quarter for the Sandpipers. Still over a minute to go as Wannop helped dispossess the Thunderbirds on that occasion. Doyle. Oh, that was well placed and well finished.
Sensational. Well-weighted pass that went into Jo Morgan, held the space. And you see down the other end, Heinrich lost that one and went into attack.
So, last minute, first quarter. As Adamson crashes into the boards. Harvey Williams. Can this be a successful final year for her? World Championships coming up. Last year in the National League, unless she has a change of heart.
Their speed around the circle, their speed being the Thunderbird speed, is just so impressive.
Heinrich, 9 from 9. What a debut. And we've got our stats man Todd Miller with us again this year. He's nodding his head in quiet approval.
Wide open, Heinrich.
Nearly got her own rebound, but not quite. Contact against her in her first miss, but she's on 90% as we bring the first quarter to a close. And a successful start for the home side. They look to be starting their campaign in 2003 in good fashion. They lead at 21-9.
First quarter stats, we'll look at the home team, and that's the Adelaide Thunderbirds. Impressive start by the forward line. Delaney, 14 attempts to post. She's been very creative. 12 successful. Heinrich, amazing first quarter. She would be very happy with her 90% average in that first. Bomberto, 2 penalties. Scholes 4. Overall, the penalty in favour of Thunderbirds, and I think there's a lot of turnovers from the Sandpipers to create the margin as is.
A lead of 12 for the Thunderbirds at quarter time. Quite a lot to do for the Sandpipers to turn this one around. Their ordinary record against the Thunderbirds, perhaps haunting them on this trip to Adelaide. And a few changes made by Anita Keelan, the coach for the Sandpipers. Understandably, she's looking for something more. On comes Nicole McMahon at wing defence. Gerard drops back to goal defence. And Tucker to goalkeeper. As we move towards half-time. And 27-13. They look only like improving their 11-1 record against the Sandpipers. High ball for Morgan. Fellows there again, and Jo Morgan is in trouble. Oh, I don't like the sound of this. That was an awkward fall, and was it knee or ankle? But, oh dear. That was a
very awkward fall. She moves, turns to her right.
Ouch. She's rolled that left ankle and twisted the right knee. Oh, take your pick. Ouch. Some of the members of the New Zealand team here for a mixed and men's international tournament. And Jo Morgan gets the first shot away after that injury, and it's fired her up if nothing else. And she still looks a little in pain. Unbelievable change of fortune for the goal attack for the Thunderbirds.
Adamson there almost creating an area where she couldn't be of advantage to Jo Morgan.
And Jo Morgan starting to put a few through. Sandpipers have scored the last 3.
Morgan 13 from 16.
Nice touch from Monica Lamb in the commentary bench there. One possession Lamb, Rebillard none. And just avoiding me. They won't pass to me. There's 6-all in this second quarter, by the way, Mon. It's a low scoring, but much more even.
But it's a very sloppy second quarter also. The passing isn't hitting its point. Doyle's having a few problems there on the top of the circle.
Contact against Fellows. Shot for Morgan.
And she's picking up the speed here, Jo Morgan, 14 from 17. Now we see the Sandpipers' percentage increase.
Delaney fires it on to Sanders. Do you see any signs of where it's breaking down a little for the Thunderbirds? Because they still seem to be moving it up the court quite smoothly.
I think the actual move of Gerard in at goal defence has been effective. But she has that type of persona and skill level where she can come like a Jaguar, reach something off the mid-court and turn it over very quickly.
Adamson, all her moves matched by Harvey Williams, and that's caused frustration again at the attack end for the Sandpipers. Just 5 goals this quarter for Delaney after scoring 12 in the first. Heinrich 9 in the opening quarter, and she's only added a couple.
Yes, good work there from the Sandpipers, shutting down the vision as the Thunderbirds went into attack.
4 held balls at least in the opening 2 quarters, so that's quite an unusual count. Teams still looking for their timing in possession. Morgan is just starting to find her range despite that ankle injury. Last 40-odd seconds of this second quarter. Adamson only 2 goals for the match. Or a touch from Gerard, but not converted into possession. Heinrich on the baseline. Checks her teammate. Tucker gets Hodge going. Hodge going with going with a good outlet. Ooh, that put Gerard under some pressure. Bomberto nearly had it. Sandpipers possession. Timekeeper is moving over towards Michelle Fippard. And 1 or 2 seconds kept up her sleeve as time off as Morgan put the shot away quickly. Knew she had to. Out of the corner of her eye, Morgan knew the timekeeper was there, but that is a better second quarter for the Sandpipers. Anita Keelan, the coach, will be quite pleased to see the Sandpipers close the gap a little. And 28-17 it is.
Half-time statistics for both of these sides. The Adelaide Thunderbirds and the Sydney Sandpipers. Penalty is much the same, although the Sandpipers are leading that count at the end of the first turn. Rebounds going in favour of the Sandpipers. Turnovers, 19 turnovers for the Sandpipers. The attempts at post is also an interesting statistic. 43 by the Thunderbirds. Their goal percentage is 65%. Sandpipers much more favourable at 81%. And that second quarter was won by the Sandpipers by 1. Here we see Laura Bomberto, who had a great first quarter, combining in well with Kristen Heinrich over from the Ravens. Formidable duo. They're working in with Delaney. Hopefully that will be the strength for the Thunderbirds in season 2003. There's that give and go. Bomberto always making a cut to the top of the circle. Delaney assisting. She's got such incredible speed as she moves into the top and always offers that other option. Heinrich having a good game.
Well, if the Thunderbirds can settle quickly, the Sandpipers settle quickly into this third quarter, it could be game on. They won that second quarter narrowly, 8-7. And you look at that 21-goal first quarter from the Thunderbirds, 7 in the second quarter. Extraordinary, really. And the Thunderbirds, trying to address that, have switched Heinrich and Delaney up front. Sometimes any change is worth it. But what might Margango be thinking, Mon?
Probably give Delaney a bit of run of the court back on the goal line. And let Heinrich try and perhaps push a few moves up forward, create something for Delaney.
So Harvey Williams looking to settle the side. They began like they'd never stopped from last season, but lost their rhythm a little in the second quarter with the Sandpipers rejigging their defence. They didn't get a lot more return out of Morgan and Adamson. As Delaney fires one truly, and she's quite delighted to get that one too. Little hop towards the post after it went through. So I think that's a sign of the frustration she felt in that second quarter. Thank you very much. And she's on again. It's this post.
It is actually. I agree. This left-hand side of the court for me is the worry for most shooters. And as the season unfolds, you wait. They hit the top of that post. It seems to ricochet differently.
Now, just a moment, Monica Lam. When did you last shoot to that left-hand end of Edsa Park?
I didn't actually shoot, Steve, but I've watched them shoot.
Schultz, Bomberto. Of course, I haven't either. I wasn't the one making the comment. Bomberto.
But it may even be psychological. As the first few minutes of the third quarter here, you could see the rhythm in Delaney's arm was different.
Yeah. Heinrich. She may feel the same.
Yeah.
She was 9 from 10 in the first quarter. 2 from 6 in the second. But the Thunderbirds have scored the last 3 as Bomberto hits the deck.
And Tucker just happening to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Takes the contact.
Oh, Delaney, the rhythm on the shot. The confidence is back, but as...
He had nowhere to go. Tucker just was there.
And 47 attempts to 21 so far for the Thunderbirds. They could have been twice as many, and they're nudging up towards it again. They've scored the first 4 goals of this quarter. As Fellows find Schultz, Bomberto and Sanders. The midcourt looks to be on song again. Not that it ever really went off tune. Oh, Delaney with a layup.
No emotion at all there in the face of Jackie Delaney. She takes the hand around Alison Tucker and scores the goal.
I reckon she enjoyed it, though. On the inside.
I think she was, laughing hysterically on the inside.
And Heinrich. Thunderbirds 6 in a row. That's the kind of run they put together twice in the opening quarter. And they almost blew the Sandpipers away, 21-9. Sandpipers have not scored in 3.5 minutes. Now they have.
Fellows moving in too slowly, and on that occasion I thought it was set up too tight on Morgan. Needs to play off her a little bit.
Delaney, just a hesitation on the shot, and the spring-heeled Gerard helps herself.
Good hand there from Heinrich.
You want to see those goalers helping out in defence as the ball moves back up the court. Maybe they can send it from whence it came. Heinrich succeeded on that occasion, and off to Delaney.
And she's on song in this term, Jackie Delaney, 22 from 33, 67%. As we see the bench there of the Adelaide Thunderbirds, assistant coach and Margangove.
I wonder how many times Margangove has sat and pondered, how do I work Delaney out? How do I get maximum effort out of her all the time? Or maximum return? I think she always tries 100%, but sometimes it just goes.
I think she just lets Jackie work herself out, and maybe Marg pulls the reins occasionally. Turnover there coming from Scholes. Good tip. And once again, Bomberto. Great work rate from her.
24 turnovers to 8 against the Sandpipers, so they're giving away too much possession to keep the Thunderbirds in trouble. A smile from Sanders, who doesn't often give much away on court, but I think she enjoyed that moment.
Yeah, very impressive here, this little
tap with the left hand. McMahon.
Doyle's getting caught right at the top and is quite slow to get back onto the edge of the circle. There's a stilted opportunity there from Morgan. No pressure there from Fellows at the moment. Morgan 17 from 21. We said at the start of the game she needed 24 more shots.
And she's sitting on 81%, which is her career average.
Yeah.
With those 2,976 goals or something she came in with prior to this match. So she's extremely consistent. Bomberto to Delaney. And there we go. They're on the 2-for-1 ratio. 38 to 19. Meanwhile, up front, we've got Jackie Roberts on at goal shooter for the Sandpipers. Morgan's ankle. Look, I'm really not surprised. That was such a bad-looking injury when she did roll the ankle. Quite amazed that she was able to continue for as long as she did. Delaney to Sanders. Well, they may consider that the game is gone, and they don't want to risk further injury to Morgan.
Oh, well done there,
Gerard was just out as she reached the ball, but it was a game effort from Gerard. Oh, no, she wasn't.
That was in play.
Well, Gerard shot a quizzical look at Michelle Fippard, and with good reason. It all happens in the blink of an eye, of course, and Gerard, I think the player sometimes knows if they've achieved it, and she did keep it in. But the really athletic players can do that to you, can't they? You don't think they can achieve what they've done.
And I think perhaps on that occasion the naked eye wasn't true to form in picking it up. Gerard, very skilled. I think I was more concerned with the fact that she was heading towards the commentary box and I could hear the thundering feet on the floorboard.
Yeah, we haven't finished our coffee. Oh, Hodge trying to keep it in, runs into Von Berto, former teammates.
It was Von Berto that did block it, almost shepherded Hodge off the ball. Heinrich tries to chases it up.
And Gerard shepherding it off the court. She's pretty canny. And she's a player we're going to see in senior Australian colours before the end of her career, I'm sure.
I agree. Mishandled ball there by Alison Tucker. Turned over to Thunderbirds at the moment. The turnovers. Thunderbirds at only 10. Very impressive. But the Sydney Sandpipers, this is where I think has been their letdown during the game. 26 turnovers.
7 minutes left in this third quarter. A more free-scoring one for the Thunderbirds. Only 2 goals from the Sandpipers. It's desperate stuff for them without Morgan. Adamson is at wing attack now. Adamson and Doyle have swapped. I don't know if we mentioned that in passing in the rejigging of the lineup.
That was Jackie Roberts' first attempt to post. Roberts, a former Thunderbirds player.
Schultz. And Hodge picks up. It's a deflected ball. Doyle on to McMahon. Adamson at wing attack, and a step call against her.
Good recovery there from Scholes and also defensively from Harvey Williams, putting pressure on.
Do you reckon Demelza Fellow's got that headband from Olivia Newton-John or Pat Cash?
We'll ask it before the end of the season, I'm sure.
It's very important to know these kinds of details. Strange things that enter the head of your esteemed commentary team. It's a good colour. I think that's Olivia's. It's not Pat's. Pat wouldn't wear a pink one, would he? His were black and white.
Black and white, yes.
Black and white check. Oh, down goes Hodge. Was Schultz to blame? They smile at each other.
Putting a T in her name now, Steve.
Schultz. Okay, sorry. It's on. Doyle.
Top of the post, rims out again. 25 attempts to the Sandpipers, only 19 effective on the board.
Wasn't that a great drive up the court from Harvey Williams? It's a style that other goal defence players around the world can try to emulate. It's great to watch, and doesn't it set your team on the front foot?
I was fortunate enough to go to Catherine Harvey's testimonial at the beginning of April, and the footage that she had.
You crashed it, didn't you?
No, I didn't crash. I actually paid for my tickets. You see Harvey Williams, that's just her style. She winds that arm up, so much vision of that long bomb going into the forward line. Catches the opposing defenders off guard, just opens up that goal circle beautifully.
Berto finds Heinrich. Isn't she enjoying playing at the front end of this talented Thunderbirds lineup? Thunderbirds 5 in a row, and still only 2 goals for the quarter for the Sandpipers. They are really drifting out of this contest, and I think other teams will be watching this effort from the Thunderbirds and know that they are yet again a contender in 2003. Off the boil a little in the second quarter, but we'll allow them that in the first game of the season.
Good work there. Body positioning from Harvey Williams behind Doyle.
Doyle shooting over the tall fellows and doing it well.
Christy Doyle 1 from 2.
Delaney. That's around the corner for Von Berto. Contact against Gerard on Heinrich. That was allowed to be taken a lot closer to the post than I thought it might, but McMahon. So 3.5 left in the third as Delaney sails towards the post and puts through her 27th goal. Jo Morgan will have to wait till another day, obviously, to get that goal she needs for 3,000. 61 attempts for the Thunderbirds in this match to 26 from the Sandpipers. Start to further assess the performance of the Thunderbirds defence at Jo Morgan. An unhappy figure, captain, with the left ankle being iced as we speak.
Opportunities are imperative to the forward line and they're usually created by the defensive unit. Thunderbirds doing this well.
Sanders got what was nearly a short pass from Heinrich. It's a call we only hear every game or three, and not made on that occasion.
Delaney shooting at 72%, 28 from 39.
Adamson.
Oh, Harvey saw it. Leaves the hand of Adamson, read it well.
Oh, wow. Harvey Williams just checking the condition of that left hip. Well, she got a bump to it. Just keep an eye on her, but Delaney. Oops, out of the hands.
Impressive jump by Tucker, just didn't have the ball in her possession.
See if we can see again here. Just got a knock there.
But was it really there? It was more around the back of her body. I think perhaps it was just a twinge in her hip.
Yeah. She seems to be moving all right, but there's one player who won't let you know if she's injured. It's Kath Harvey-Williams. By the end of a season, she's carrying half a dozen, and you'd never know. Gerard nearly caught with another held ball, the Sandpipers. His defence is not letting up. Touch over a minute left in the third. And you can see Thunderbirds have this one well in hand.
That was good work there from Scholes. Came over the shoulder of Adamson. Kept her body intact.
Roberts along the baseline. Doyle. So Doyle is 3 from 4. Hodge with a centre pass for the Sandpipers. Adamson to Roberts.
Nowhere near the target there. Jackie Roberts, she's had 2 attempts, both failed.
I guess in moving to Sydney, Roberts would have been hoping to get a lot more court time than she's been enjoying last season. Again, she's a player who's got to work into the Sandpipers' scheme of things, and Anita Keelan will be hoping that doesn't take long. Delaney. Well, they're just going on with the job here. They do enjoy running to this right end, it seems. We'll see if there's any drop-off in intensity and productivity in the fourth quarter for the Thunderbirds. Sanders just gave a little nudge to Hodge with the ball there. I don't think the umpire saw that. He's trying to get rid of her. An interesting move at the top of the circle. And the timekeeper says that'll do us for 3 quarters. Anita Keelan's got plenty to worry about. Margangove as ever making notes, and they'll be mostly positive, I think, as she oversees a scoreline of 47-22 in favour of her side.
And that means to me, Steve, that the Sydney Sandpipers are trailing by 25. And let's look at their stats here at the third term. Had 22 shots from 29 attempts, so it's little ball getting down to the forward line. It's been effectively thwarted there by the Thunderbirds defenders. Percentage 76%, a much better percentage average than the Adelaide Thunderbirds, but the actual penalty rate 42, far more excessive, and the turnovers, 30 turnovers for the Sandpipers.
Our outscored 19-5 in that third term. The Sandpipers a long way back from there. Underway in the final quarter, and plenty of changes to bring you. Shea Barley's on at centre for the Sandpipers. Look at the Thunderbirds first of all, and Natalie von Berto joins her sister Laura on court. Natalie at wing defence. Carrie Worthley come on at goal shooter, so Heinrich has earned her rest, and Shea Barley, as we mentioned, joining the game at centre for the Sandpipers. So Hodge will sit out the last quarter. So captain and vice captain, right and left there, and we hope Joe Morgan is all right for next week.
It'll be a very nerve-wracking start for Kerry Worthley in at goal shooter, but the rhythm and fluency between Heinrich and Delaney was a good positive for the LA Thunderbirds.
I reckon Delaney intercepted that ball. It was meant for Sanders, and she just stuck one hand out, said, "I'll have that," and it was travelling too. Oh, Delaney, very interesting player. Thunderbirds have scored 4 on the trot. They've put together too many of these unanswered goal runs. Roberts.
Fellows almost had the tip on that one.
Jackie.
Roberts 1 from 4.
There's our website, abc.net.au/netball. Do drop by and see what's on our site. The results and stories, and the Commonwealth Bank Trophy for 2003 moves on. 7th season. Step call against Roberts. See a step there?
I didn't personally see one.
It's a relative call, that one, the stepfather.
That is COMMBANK centre. Oh.
Silence. Let's have a 1, 2.
No. Landed.
Yeah, landed foot was the left foot, wasn't it?
Yes, it was the left foot.
Maybe a harsh call. Maybe. Michelle Fippard and Sharon Kelly as two of our finest umpires. Nice to see them officiating again this year. Michelle Fippard on the screen there.
Oh.
Contact against Roberts. Not really having a happy time out there.
It's slowing up now for the Thunderbirds. We're used to seeing Harvey Williams onto Shoals with a long drive down court, but
Worthley. Gerard in the crouch, and she never actually leapt. Just kind of held off it. Well, that's a 4-1 start to the fourth quarter for the Thunderbirds. So a little out of rhythm, so they made a couple of changes. The lowest score for the Sandpipers against the Thunderbirds, 33 goals, round 1 3 years ago, and I don't think they're going to get to 33 the way they're travelling. Record low score against the Thunderbirds. We'll keep an eye on that one to see if it happens.
Well-placed pass there from Doyle, but it's a long time to make a way back into the circle to assist.
Roberts. Thunderbirds have the most imposing home record of any team in the league. It's staggering, really. 88% of games at home in the 6 seasons they've won. 62 wins, only 6 losses at home and 1 draw.
Staggering that they've played in the last 6 grand finals. Have won 2 back-to-back, 98, 99. Have come runners-up in all the others. Great South Australian side.
Delaney. And all those seasons under Margango. She and Julie Fitzgerald, the only two to have been in the competition right through, and the coaching side of it. Barley to Doyle, lost the handle, found it. Oh, that's a hell ball. And only that against Doyle. 3, 4 in the match. 5 5, says Todd Miller. And we always believe him. Even when he's lying, he's telling the truth. Delaney.
Circle wide open there for Delaney. Finishing this last quarter off well. Delaney 31 from 43. Oh,
Adamson is down. Now this is turning into a very bad match for the Sandpipers. You can see she is in some trouble. She wants to smile, but she is hurt. Come across from the Swifts, of course. Now, how did she do this? And where is she hurt?
She takes off. She gets caught there behind.
Well, Annabelle Gazzoli replaces the injured Kelly Adamson. And I think Anita Keelan will be grateful that she brought the full 12 to this contest in Adelaide, because she's having to rip through the subs with injuries and a loss of form.
Nothing open there for the Sandpipers. Good tip from Fellows. Turned over once again.
Kimberly Purcell, the only player, hasn't had a run so far for the Sandpipers, and I'll hope not to have to use her, I guess. Delaney looking for Worthley, and Gazzoli filling in at wing attack. I hope Adamson is all right next week.
Good work there by Worthley. Got the tip. As we've seen for the majority of the game, Delaney running on strong.
Annabelle Gazzoli from the Fairfield club. She's 21. And Kimberly Purcell, unused. But probably feels the time is coming.
Pick me. Good extension there from Sanders, although she picked up the contact.
I'm sure Gazzoli in the New South Wales under 21 side, the Nationals last year. Barley, Roberts, Doyle. Shooting percentage for the Sandpipers 74. Haven't had enough of the ball. 77 attempts to 35 favouring the Thunderbirds. So possession has come the Thunderbirds' way in all sorts of ways. 20 more turnovers offered by the Sandpipers. Rebounds pretty even, 11 and 12, Thunderbirds and Sandpipers. And 13 more penalties conceded by the visitors. Don't think the Sandpipers ever recovered from that red-hot start by the Thunderbirds.
Oh, second term though, Steve, they put the pressure on. I think they had the opportunity then. They pulled it back. Almost 11 is a good margin.
Delaney on to Worthley. So Worthley is 5 from 9. Nat Avellino hoping next week that she might be part of this Thunderbirds lineup. And I'm sure everyone wants them to keep it out of the courts, the issue of her residency. Watch with interest to see how it's worked out. Oh, what a ball. You better have your eyes open when Harvey Williams sends you a pass.
Well, you better have your eyes open.
Yeah. Black eye otherwise.
Yes, she would expect you to catch it.
If the ball doesn't give you a black eye, she might. No. Here is Harvey Williams.
Winds up the right shoulder and just lets it go, and Worthley collects it well.
It's not just the pace and the flatness, it's the accuracy.
Yes.
It's a flat rope. Gazzoli. Nice to see her getting some court time. Reckon she's a centre court player of the future. Targeted by Keelan for the Sandpipers this year. So under 5 minutes left. Thunderbirds' biggest win was 33 goals in round 10 last year. 70 to 37 the score that day. So the 33s are in there. 33 the lowest score by the Sandpipers against the Thunderbirds. And 33, the biggest margin for a win by the Thunderbirds over the Sandpipers.
Delaney working hard to keep it in the Thunderbirds goal circle. 81 attempts there for the Thunderbirds, 70% shooting average for the forward line. Heinrich was in there for the first 3 quarters. Wortley's come on in the last
quarter. 3/4 time? Yeah, it's here replaced Heinrich.
Yes.
We only need one brain, really, don't we?
Between us,
Yeah.
Could be dangerous, I reckon.
Which half do you want? Doyle. Well, Anita Keelan on the left. I'm sure she was hoping for a closer match than this one. May only have been hoping for a win, but certainly hoping for a better performance as reflected on the scoreboard. Roberts. I think the record margin is probably beyond them because they've got it back under 30. But the record low score for the Sandpipers against the Thunderbirds still looms.
Yes.
Advance the penalty or
Yes.
not? No. Just Delaney just being told, settle down. She was giving a bit of niggle there to Gerard. Oh, Harvey Williams.
Nice tip there. Well controlled.
Got a bit of history, these two clubs, and overall I think the match has been played in fairly good spirit. Well officiated. We might have disagreed with a call or two, but that's our game.
But really, the Sandpipers have rarely tested the Thunderbirds for 60 minutes. Perhaps 2.5. Good 30, but rarely 60. 12 encounters, 11. Look at that there. Control.
When you see Harvey Williams play like that, and if she plays like that the rest of the season, you say, oh, please don't retire. But she knows when it's time, and maybe this is her last year. But
I sincerely hope she thoroughly enjoys every minute of her testimonial year.
Umberto, picked off well by Tucker. It's one of the intercepts of the game. Beautifully read. And a throw in to the Thunderbirds. Good performance from all players who've taken the court for the Adelaide side. I reckon you can already pick the improvement in Demelza Fellows, who marked up very well against Joe Morgan in the first half until Morgan went off in the 3rd quarter. And we're getting tangled up. Tucker and Sanders. Margangove. Yes, that looks a pretty contented coach. He should be with that scoreline. And a minute to go. They've got the margin up to 30 again, and they have possession. Sanders kept it in. Gerard gathers. Tucker gets the Sandpipers going forward one more time. Maybe the last time. Gazzoli. Natalie Von Berto out of play. Gazzoli, the pass. Barley. So the Thunderbirds look like setting up their season with a first-up win. Doyle. And a win that is an early percentage booster. You never know when that's going to help come the end of the year. And teams are looking for a position in the top 4. The top 2 positions certainly cherished. And as they get the second bite of the cherry, those 2 teams filling those premier positions. Delaney. And great defence from Tucker once again. Excellent timing on the leg to deny the Adelaide Thunderbirds their 60th goal. But any way you look at it, it's a mighty win for the T-Birds. 59-30. And 12-8 the last quarter. So they won every quarter. No, they didn't. They lost the second quarter 8-7. Take that back. But they won the match so convincingly as the coaches shake hands as the players have played the match in good spirit. It's a rather one-sided affair. Let's have a look at how this match unfolded stat-wise, and the penalties against the trailing side. That's often the case. Nothing in the rebounds, though. Turnover. Drovers really hurt the Sandpipers. They gave up 43 to 21. 14 intercepts taken by the Thunderbirds to the 4 from the Sandpipers. So you again doff your cap to the Thunderbirds' defence, and they had so much more of the ball as a consequence. 84 attempts to 39. And although the Sandpipers had a pretty healthy goal shooting percentage, they didn't have enough of it. And a 59 to 30 scoreline for the Thunderbirds in match number 1. Here's Monica Lam.
Thanks, Steve. Peter, good hit out first game.
Yeah, it was great. I was absolutely happy with the outcome. Obviously, perhaps would have liked 4 consistent quarters, but something to work on.
Your second term was a bit slow, and the Sandpipers really did push you. However, I think it was more unforced errors.
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, there were a few other areas that we needed to work on, and we did that in the third and the fourth, so I think that was good.
And we also have Natalie Avellino, who has had a very controversial week, and I thank Natalie for joining us. Nat, how has it been?
Yeah, it has been a tough week, Mon, and probably about 2.5 hours before the game started, I found out that I couldn't play. So, yeah, it was a disappointing afternoon.
So emotionally, you're very drained, and what do you think the process will be this week?
Yeah, it has been draining. It's been going on for about 7 days, but these last couple of days have been pretty full on. So we've got to take some legal advice and get stuck into it next week, and hopefully on court against this next week.
So we expect to see you at some stage playing for the Adelaide Thunderbirds this year, or you don't think so?
No, we're pretty confident at the Thunderbirds that I'll be in a Thunderbirds uniform. I had it on ready to go for tonight, but unfortunately that wasn't the way. So, yes, you will see me out there.
Well, good luck with your course, Natalie. I hope you have a great season.
Thanks, Mon.
Well, as disappointed as Nat Avellino was not to have been part of that great performance, I'm sure it was a very pleasing one for Kath Harvey-Williams and Marg Ango. The Thunderbirds find themselves playing the Sydney teams back-to-back at the start of the season. Next week, it's the Swifts for the Thunderbirds. That match will be shown at 11 next Saturday morning across the network. But check your local guides for the afternoon game between the Queensland Firebirds and last year's premiers, Melbourne Phoenix. I hope you've enjoyed our opening weekend of the Commonwealth Bank Trophy for 2003. It's been an enjoyable one for us. You can check all the results and stories on our website at abc.net.au/netball. I'm Steve Rebellion on behalf of Monica Lam. Goodbye for now.
And an Asian cruise line has relocated its operations to Australia. Its first ship managed to squeeze under Sydney's Harbour Bridge by just 2 metres this morning. Showers and 18 in Melbourne this afternoon.
Tonight on Nine's Wednesday, Disaster Rocks Drovers Run on McLeod's Daughters. Then laugh along with Comedy Inc., followed by an emotion-charged Survivor the Amazon.
This is Channel 9's Wednesday. This program is proudly brought to you by Dove Bar and Night and Day Continuous Wear Contact Lenses.
Roman, where are you? No, I didn't get your message. I came straight from...
Andy Booth at goal attack, very high in attack. You wouldn't expect a goal attack to receive a pass so high in the midcourt.
Question of pace, I suppose, is how quickly she can get back there. And you know, it's one thing to come out, but I guess they'll concentrate on Thwaites, the defenders.
That's right. Look, do two things. Like speed is very important for that player to get back in the circle and get back in the play. But Thwaites, it's ideal to have one-on-one on the circle as well.
The call there was against Chatfield for getting that arm out to get Thwaites away from the ball. Kestrels have hit 4 in a row. And they hit the ball long again, and that time Thwaites illegally using the body to get rid of Prendergast.
Well read by Prendergast. Great pressure sitting in front of Thwaites then.
Oh. Boy, that was a big ask. Hallinan trying to pass that ball in between 3 defenders to find her shooter. Thwaites didn't know much about it. In the end, the ball came to her. Oh, hit 5 in a row. Gee, it changes so quickly. Still, it's comfortable, isn't it? 12 goals for Phoenix.
It does, but the pressure has slipped off now against the Phoenix.
That period, as I said, hit 7 in a row to Phoenix in the third quarter. That stretched the margin to 12. And it was 16 at three-quarter time. So Phoenix now just get one back. Just to steady the ship. Kidd and Chocolate crash into each other.
Offside, swing defence. Oh, she's not, sorry. Where you are, goal defence.
And yes, I think that might have been a call for going from one third into another before the umpire realised that Natasha Chocolate was, Natasha Chocolate was actually a defender, so she was allowed to go from the defensive third into the centre third. So the Phoenix retained possession there. Kidd works the 1-2 with Hallinan, gets a little closer.
So the Kestrels currently leading this quarter by 2. So they're doing very well with the changes, considering the entire lineup was more or less a new one.
Yeah, apart from Thwaites, that's right. Everybody else had a shift or a change. Another goal of the Phoenix just after those 5 in a row to the Kestrels. The Phoenix have hit back with the past 3. It's Brown. Nash looking inside. Thwaites all the time trying to muscle up, if you like, get that position high up so that she can get the drop over the top. Good work from Booth, good stretch, felt the contact and got that foot way back. Couldn't finish it off though. A lot of contest under that post. There was a lot of arms flying in there. And a fair bit of body as well. That was a dangerous pass. Nicely done by Strawn. You've got to applaud her desperation all night.
Definitely. She came out to attack that ball that was going into Jacobson and then went back for the second pass. Did extremely well. Great footwork.
Could go rid of Garbutt. And it's goal number 30 for Kidd from 39 attempts, 77%. Overall, 66 attempts for the Phoenix to 51 from the Kestrels. McMahon with another one. Phoenix the last 5 in a row. Round to Booth. The leg was out from Prendergast and she was called for the contact. Booth steps in, no worry.
Madison Brown, the new wing attack for this quarter for the Kestrels, has been an impressive player this year. Her first time playing National League this year and has stepped up to the challenge very comfortably.
Garbutt coming around the back. It's called for the contact.
Contesting from behind, the umpire's never going to give it your way.
Well, you can argue.
Well,
I know I do.
Not going to get you very far.
There goes another turnover. Chocolate. Nicely down to Kidd. Go. McMahon with the finish.
Lots of pressure after the shot has been shot by both teams' goalers. The defenders are nearly landing on the attackers, and I know the attackers get very sick and tired of it, and the shot's already gone through. I would be saying back off, defender.
Another case there.
Exactly, yeah. With Strawn really landing on McMahon.
But as a defender, you'd say, well, you've got to have something go your way. Here's Thwaites. Nice shot.
But you've also got to be smart in your defensive skills as well. I don't think it's fair that you land on your opponent every time they have a shot at goal.
All right, okay. All right, we're pushing it then. Here's McMahon. Oh, gee. The dangerous pass. Brown had possession then.
Great pick up by
coming
Nash.
through.
Great pick up by Nash with McMahon having a no-look path onto the edge of the circle. Didn't pay off this time.
Good hand from Brown, low down, and that was asking a bit much.
I think the pressure
Nash.
from Chatfield just yelling out put off Nash then. Another turnover, Kestrel's way.
Technically yelling out's intimidation, isn't it?
You can just pretend that you're yelling out my ball or whatever it might be.
Thwaites couldn't handle it. Chatfield just knocked it out of court, won't give it up.
Chatfield
eventually she does.
Doing extremely well.
59 plays 41. 18 goals the margin, 4.5 left in this match. Booth and Thwaites, good position, falling out of court. And possession to Prendergast. No, yes, no. Possession to Booth. Contact call. moan or two from the crowd and from my co-commentator, Liz Boniello.
I thought... I did think it was Julie Prendergast's ball, but I'm not in a good position as well to sit here and be judgmental to the umpire.
Jacobson. McMahon showing the skills. The take was brilliant. The turn. Then she took it again. And then she took the shot to finish it off. McMahon has 29 goals at 94%.
What a game by the Phoenix girls. Although it hasn't been entirely consistent throughout the entire match, they have certainly done the job in tonight's derby.
I'll tell you what, McMahon and Strawn are just having a barrel of fun down there, and I don't mean it's all laughs either. Prendergast and Thwaites enjoying their time on court together too.
There's been some great key matchups tonight, as you said, those four players. Also, I was enjoying the contest earlier when Strawn was out against Jacobson.
Advantage break goal attack.
Lovely. Just the hand out there from Thompson. Just read it. It is such a skill too. Keep your eye on the ball and where it's going at the same time watching the player that you're on to see if the ball's going to hurt.
Exactly. It's a tough sport to master, Neil. These girls do train extremely hard to play so well at this level.
Kestrel's attacking again, and Thwaites from the top of the circle, lipped out. Still, nevertheless, shooting, well, she's dropped off a bit, 30 from 38, 79%. Franklin's left the court, she shot 11 of 14 at 79% as well, and Booth, 2 of 5 for Booth, 40%. Another chance for the Phoenix. They well and truly have control of this match. The margin is now into 20. McMahon again showing the skills, keeping those toes inside the baseline and keeping the ball going in the right direction as well. Straight through the net for Sherelle McMahon. 31 of 33, 94%. She's maintained her form all night. Brown gave it away, had no choice, was going to fall out of court or throw it away.
Contact for the fence.
Another
Where you are, Zola. Yes.
contact with Garbutt on Kidd. Kidd has another goal. Margin out to 22. Minute and a half left. A little bit of a hiccup in the second quarter for the Phoenix. They led by 9 at quarter time. It was 8 at half time. Three-quarter time, it was out to 16. In some ways, the last few minutes of this game has been a bit lackluster. Brown has done well with her limited time on court, coming on in this last quarter. Fired the pass in to Thwaites, but she couldn't handle it. Chatfield, dangerous pass. Got away with it. Now to Phoenix, moving the ball swiftly down court. Jacobson, good hands to control it off the Kidd, who sank it. Nice finish from Skinner Kidd, her first match, her first derby match against the Kestrels, having swapped over controversially in the off-season, just a few weeks before the start of the 2006 season.
Inside over that side.
So possession with Prendergast, and a great slip from Chatfield, and somehow she managed to get it back to Prendergast. It's not deliberate in that situation with the foot. So it's play on. Kidd with another shot. Nicely done. And 24 goals is the final margin. 67 to 43. The Phoenix would be delighted with that result. They were pretty impressive all night. As I said, they had a bit of a slip in the second quarter, but ultimately 67 to 43. A very, very happy Phoenix side, no doubt, carrying the night. And Sinner Kidd pretty much the focus, having made that switch, as we said, from the Kestrels across to the Phoenix. And Liz is with the girl of the moment, Sinner Kidd.
Congratulations, Sinner, on a fantastic match, shooting over 30 goals at a percentage higher than your career average. How did it feel out there?
I was a bit apprehensive at the start. Never saw David. Once I got out there, it was like a second home, so felt really good.
Fantastic. You're certainly combining really well with McMahon. It is the early stages of your combination. You look like you're enjoying your netball again, which is great to see. Are you?
Yeah, well, I've been teaching Sherelle a few things, but I'm actually loving it there. The girl's fantastic, and yeah, I've got a smile on my face on court, so.
Fantastic. Not an entirely perfect match from the Phoenix point of view. It was a little bit up and down. How did you see the match pan out?
Yeah, definitely. Look, we had a great lead, and then we let the back in, which you can't do. And against quality team, you definitely can't. So we need to work on putting 4 quarters all together.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sinner.
Thanks, Liz. And there's still plenty to come. Up next, join us for the Hunter Jaggers against the Sydney Swifts. We'll have full coverage on ABC2 and on ABC TV on Saturday afternoon. That's tomorrow. We've got the Netball, a highlight show. On Saturday afternoon also on ABC TV, the Super Series Bowls, the women's pairs, Australia against New Zealand from the Warilla Bowls Club. That's from 5 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. And don't forget, Head to Head, hosted by Ashley Bradham. Don't miss it on ABC from 6 o'clock. Thanks for your company. The Phoenix victors by 24 goals. We'll see you later.